very welcome to panel session 3, Multinationals Under Fire. The title sounds striking. We live times of changes. Changes are very significant in many areas. We have experienced a dramatic economic crisis, volatility in financial markets, and taxes are also being hit. So what we want to describe with this title is the landscape that we see for multinationals in the tax fields, for large multinationals, in the coming years. What are we picking when we open the newspapers, when we walk on the streets? What are we picking? We're picking when we relate with our clients, we're picking harsher audits from tax authorities and complaints about legal security, joint audits, where an Italian tax inspector is arriving in Madrid hand in hand with the Spanish tax inspector, debatable transfer pricing assessments, where valuing things is really difficult, not only for our tax people, but for everybody, and the amounts involved are real high. We're facing even public demonstrations in the streets. I was with my little son, 11-year-old boy, in London a few weeks back, and we were walking across Oxford Circus, and a demonstration caught us by surprise. And my son said, "Dad, what is this about?" And I thought, it's about nukes, it's nuclear. And then the guys approached with a signpost, and I said, no, it doesn't look like a nuclear demonstration, anti-nuke. Could be the hunting of the fox. Or maybe, I tried to read the signpost, maybe this is about educational budget in the UK. But it wasn't. The first signpost I came across was Vodafone, pay your taxes. And my dad felt, and my son said, boy, Dad, you're very important. You work on taxes. And this is about taxes. And I felt a hero, but I also thought things are changing. Things must be changing. Today, I'm still not real sure whether we're watching the final ripples of some commotion that will not change the model, or whether we're in the verge of a real change that will affect multinationals, will affect the way public administrations direct their work, and also the work tax intermediaries and advisors like ourselves do their job. I feel that the second is a realistic probability, but more important than my own opinion is the opinion of my guests here today. Jonathan Leigh Pemberton, on my right hand here, is an OECD member of the Public Administrations Group, heavily involved in all matters pertaining the new model of relationship between multinational enterprises and tax administrations that the OECD is preaching. We will address in a question and answer session with him those changes and what his insight into this matter is. I would like to very wholeheartedly thank you, Jonathan, for being here. We're very proud and we're very thankful that you share your insight with us. By the way, Jonathan has been working with the Inland Revenue for long years, both in management positions and also servicing the Inland Revenue in the inspection of large multinationals, financial sectors, and therefore it's really a privilege to count on his opinions. And on my far right, Arthur Pleijsier, whom I would like to equally thank for taking this challenge of representing multinationals. Medtronic is a large, very well-known multinational, which, by the way, helps people a lot in their illnesses. And I'm very proud that he's here. He's a tax director with global responsibilities for Medtronic, but he shares a portion of his DNA with Jonathan because he also served as a tax inspector in Holland for, I guess, 7 years. So having introduced my two guests, I'm going to sit down because it's up to them to make this session interesting. And I would like to kick off by asking Jonathan about this enhanced relationship model that we're hearing about, that in some countries we're experiencing. The OECD has been working on this for long years now, and why did the OECD at some point in time, as a trendsetter, decide to launch this effort? And what does this enhanced relationship model really consist of? Initially, I asked the question whether we were facing a real change. It seems to me, after hearing our guests, that we are facing a real change. Both are positive on the fact that we're on the verge of a long-term challenge. It seems to me, too, that the road will be bumpy because there will be an inconsistent map of countries applying rules in different ways. But it also seems to me, from Arthur's words, that if administrations manage to present a cost-effective and attractive matrix to companies, companies will flow into the model. And probably what I liked best is that tax advisors will continue to have lots of work, which is something that both of you agreed on. Let me just close this panel by telling you a very short story. A few years back in Madrid, I had to coordinate a major transfer pricing event. So I decided to be a bit creative and gave the opening remarks to an economics professor. And I sat with him in my office and he said to me, "Why on earth are you calling me to talk about transfer pricing? I don't know a clue about that." And my answer was, "You've got 2 weeks and these are the books." So the guy went away with the books, and after 2 weeks he came back. And he sat down and said, "Let me do the opening remarks for this conference, loaded with clients. I'm happy." And I said, "Did you read the books?" His mind was a pure economic, rational mind. He went through all the OECD literature, everything I had fed him on. And he said, "Yes, I'm perfectly happy, perfectly prepared." He did an opening remarks of like 3 minutes maximum, where he said, "Guys, multinationals, don't feel guilty. It's all a problem of the states who can't really agree on what to tax. If they all tax at the same rate, all these problems would be over for you." You can imagine that the whole floor went loud with applauses and that. And I liked your last reference to dispute resolution, because sometimes the feeling we have is that we would all gain a lot from a better framework between states. And this is precisely what I know you are working on, Jonathan. So let me close again by thanking very much and wholeheartedly both of our guests today for their frank vision and for their very, very interesting insight. Thank you very much, and we leave the way to the next panel.